Hi guys and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the Carbootcrafter. And first of all, as you can probably tell from my voice, I am full of a cold. So I do apologise if I'm coughing or spluttering through the video. First of all. But second of all, happy St Patrick's Day. So it's Friday the 17th of March, and of course it's St Patrick's Day, and tomorrow there's going to be lots of festivities in Birmingham. There's always a parade and activities in the city centre, usually around about Digbeth and King's Heath, where the new Irish Centre is. So there'll be lots going on tomorrow, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this cold will have started to go by then. But I wanted to, now this isn't the project I wanted to do. The project I wanted to do is a bit longer. And I thought, no way is my voice going to hold out for that length of time. So I come in on to do a quick St Patrick's Day, quick and simple St Patrick's Day decoration. We do decorate the house a little bit, not as much as we do at Christmas and Easter, but there is a few bits and pieces up in the house to celebrate my Irish heritage. So you're going to start off, you need some thin paper. Now, I was looking through, and this is the only thin paper that I could find in green. And I did make it up, but I wasn't happy with the results. This is origami paper, which would be perfect if it was a bit more solid on the green. So I thought, well, what else can I do? What else have I got? And I remembered I've got some really nice white copy paper. So all I'm going to do is fold it in half. And this is the whole process to show you how to make it. All you need is 3 circles. Now I'm using my, this is an X-cut. This is the largest one, and it's about 4 inches. So I'm using that. You can use a punch, you can hand cut if you want to, whatever, as long as they're, you know, recognisable circles. So I'm just going to pop that through my die cutting machine, my very old, well-loved die cutting machine, which I inherited from a very dear friend when she passed away from breast cancer a few years ago. And that's why I don't want to change the plates, because these were hers. So, I mean, as you can see, I folded it in half, and that's gone through really well and cut 2 circles. So it's really quick and easy. So you'll need 3 circles, and you'll also need a strip of white copy paper as well. So all I do is just cut that bit. So there's our strip. You only need 1 of those. Let's chuck that away and we can get rid of this. I've already prepared a couple of these, the circles, so I'm only going to do 1, but let me show you what I did. I looked around and I found that I've got some Dilutions ink spray, which I've had for quite a while. So I thought, well, that's because I thought of painting it, but then I thought paint is going to be a little bit thicker, and this project is much easier done if you're using something that's really, paper that's really thin. So all I did was I popped it in there, got my dilutions, and I'll spray these because we're going to do a few more, and sprayed them. If they kind of gather like that, that's okay. If you don't mind, if you're not so you know, if you want it spread a bit more, either spray a bit more, or you can use your paintbrush to spread it out a little bit over your papers to get that the papers fully covered, if that's the look that you prefer. And then once that side's dry, flip it over and spray again on the other side. I'm just going to pop those to one side to dry, and I'll do those later. So I've already got some dry papers. And as I said, I've done 2 of these already because I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. But I did want to come on for today and wish everyone happy St Patrick's Day. So anyway, I've got my little scoreboard, and I'm using a scoreboard, but you can hand fold if you want, whatever works for you. And I'm just going to score this at about every 1/4 of an inch. Well, because I'm using the scoreboard, it will be every 1/4 of an inch. Now, I always start in the middle and work my way out, but whatever works for you. I know some people are more comfortable starting at this end, working their way back, or this end and working their way forward. So you're just going to score roughly every 1/4 of an inch, or every 1/2 centimetre if you've got a metric board. So I'm scoring all the way down. Now I'm going to flip mine over and score coming back. And the way I find to do this is I'm going to start in the middle. So I'm using, this circle is just over 4 inches, and you can use any size circle you want. So I'm going to go to about halfway, which is my 2 inch, and I'm just going to make sure that that's lined up, that this groove here, which is my 2 inch groove, because I popped my thing in, my scoring tool in the 2 inch, I've brought it down, I'm popping this back on, trying to line it up as much as I can. So I'm going to bring that back up, so there's the bottom of that score line. I'm just going to make sure that that score line is in the 2. Turn it ever so slightly. There we go. And then I'm going to come back and score the other way as well. This is pretty thin paper because it's copy paper, so you don't need to press down at all. It's just a very, very light a light score that you're aiming for, because it is thin copy paper, and it's got the make sure this is completely dried out, because otherwise you will run the risk of going all the way through. All the way through, that's me not concentrating. So you're going to, yeah, I've come off there a little bit somehow. That's me not being too good and not concentrating at all. Let's pop that back. And get that lined up again. There we go. And try again. So many things going round again at the minute locally. I'm not surprised I've ended up with a really heavy cold. Right, and then all I'm going to do now is zigzag or concertina fold. Now again, this is just my way of doing it. I start in the middle and then lining up my score, so this score, with the second score line across, and that just automatically gets things at about the right length. Right, and then just because I've scored both sides as well, the paper's quite happy to fold whichever way I'm encouraging it to go. Right, I can hear next door's dog is starting again. Hope that's not coming through on the video. And then I'm doing exactly the same on this side, so I'm just concertinaing it whichever way you do it, you're comfortable with. Some people might want to start at the beginning and work their way across. Whatever works for you, as always with any paper crafting or crafting. There's no right or wrong way, there's just my way and your way. So I'm just going to finish doing that. So that's all my folding for this done. And I'm just going to reinforce those fold marks. And so there what we've got is a zigzag folded circle like that. So I'm going to take one of the ends, and what I do is I'm going to pop my pokey tool roughly about the middle and then fold it up. What I'm trying to do is get fairly even fold in there. There we go, that's fairly even. And then again, using a bone folder, maybe the bigger one might be better. Using the bone folder to just reinforce that fold. Now sometimes as I've got here, you get a little bit of buckling. And the reason it's so important to use as a thinner paper as possible is, now I use some, well, this is, it's not thick card. It's this, let me show you. It's the Poundland card that I picked up. It's really thin. You know, it's not a heavyweight card by any means. But the problem is when you fold it, when you've got lots of folds like you have there, and then you fold it in half, you get a real, quite a significant buckle there, which was not holding very well at all, which is why I went to the copy paper. Right, I've got my glue, and what I want to do with this is, if I bring this up a little bit, you can see, so you've got the first folded over piece, and then you've got the second one. Let's get my fingers out of the way. So you've got that first fold there and the second fold there. So what you want to do is you want to glue to the end of the second fold. I hope this is making sense. I know I'm not too good today, but my brain's not working very well. So do you see how this bit comes here? So what you want to do is fold glue from there to there, just across there on the one side. So just a little bit of glue, you don't need an awful lot, like that, and then fold it up. And I have these lovely little clips that are just perfect for holding things like that in place. So I'm going to give that a minute, and I'm going to bring in the other two that I've already done. As you can see, I've already folded and glued them, and these are going to be a little bit, so if you hadn't already guessed, this is a shamrock. So these bits will be the leaves on our shamrock. So what we want to do now is start gluing these together. Now the reason it's important to note how to glue this piece, as we've just done on this one, is because we want this to be one leaf and we want this to be a separate leaf, but we need to join them together. So this time, if we would have previously, we took our glue all the way up to here. So across this bit and up to here. This time we're only going to glue right at the bottom here. So I'm going to get my glue and put a little bit right at the bottom there, because otherwise it doesn't give enough definition for your shamrock leaves. And then just push them together like that. Make sure you line up the bottom here. And then I'm going to use another clip to hold those two together. I'm going to do the same with this one. So again, I'm going to put a tiny little bit of glue on the bottom, just at the bottom there like that. And then I'm going to attach it to here. Line them all up like that so that they hold together. And these, again, they open up really, really well. They had these in the works and I wish they'd had them again, because I'd get another packet. I've only got two left. I don't know where the others have gone, but these are really useful. So if anyone knows where I can get these from, other than the works, please do let me know. So just pinch those together while they dry. Okay, now I'm going to work on that that little offcut that we had. Let's pop that out the way, we don't need that again now. So now I'm just going to pop this in, and I'm going to do exactly the same, score it at 1/4 of an inch all the way along. It doesn't matter how wide or how long this is, but this is 3 3/4 by 5.5. Yeah, 5.5, thereabouts. And you're just going to score this 1/4 of an inch all the way along again. Nice thing about this scoreboard is that it's only marked every 1/4 of an inch, so it's really easy to find the 1/4 of an inch marks on here. You're not having to keep counting and checking. I'm not quite sure who makes this board. It was bought for me for a present for one of my daughters. I think it was Christmas last year she bought it for me. So I've done that. I'm just going to flip it over and do exactly the same again. So making sure I'm all lined up in the 1/4 of an inch. The first 1/4 of an inch is the hardest one. And then just go all the way along again, 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to concertina fold. Oh, we're going on the skewy there with it. Hold on. Let's line that up again. Yep. And we're going to concertina fold this again, exactly the same as we did with the circles. I do apologise if this is a really rubbish video, but my head isn't quite right today. I think I'm going to do a couple more of these so we've got them to decorate, and then I'm going to lie down in a dark room. Right. Again, I'm just going to concertina fold all the way along, and I like to do it in my hands, but if you prefer to put it down and fold like this, you know, feel free to do whatever works for you. Obviously it's got to be, it's your project, you know, you've got to do it whichever way works for you. Right, and the same as I said earlier, if you wanted to use a brush, now this is quite mottled, and I don't mind that. In fact, I quite like it being fairly mottled. I hope I say that right. I don't feel like I can say mottled very well. But I quite like the effect of it being mottled. But if you don't, then go in with your paintbrush and your inks rather than spraying it like I have with these. And I'm going to come back the other way. Again, it doesn't matter how long or how wide, because we're going to cut a little bit off this anyway. And you can have it less concertina folds or more concertina folds if you want. It's entirely up to you in terms of your choice. Right, nearly there. I think what I'm going to do is just cut that. I've got a tiny little bit on the end where I can see the score mark, and then there's a tiny little bit hanging on after that. So I'm going to cut at the score mark just to tidy that up a little bit. Yeah, as you can see, it's only a tiny little bit, but I know that that's going to bother me, so I'll cut that off. So there we go. The frustrating thing about this cold is I feel fine in myself. I just can't breathe very well, and every now and again I'm having a complete coughing fit. So I'm hoping, that's why I wanted to do a short video. I thought I don't want to be doing too long a video and risk having a coughing fit. Right, so I haven't cut that end very straight when I cut the papers, so I can just cut that bit off. We don't need that. Right, now what we're going to do is open up one end ever so slightly. We don't need to open it up completely, and I'm just going to get the glue because I want this end to be a bit tighter. So I'll put a tiny little bit of glue into each one of these little valleys to when I fold it back up, hopefully it will all glue together, and then this end is tighter. I'm going to flip it over and do exactly the same on the other side. Only need a tiny little bit, don't need lots. And then fold that up like that. And I'm just going to use my peg again just to hold that together while that dries for a minute. I'm going to pop it down and I'm going to get my leaves. So these are my shamrock leaves. And I'm going to let them just open up a little bit. And hopefully, now this is what I'm after. So the leaf, so we've got a shamrock, as you know, has got 3 leaves, not 4. 4 leaves is a clover, 3 leaves is a shamrock. And I get quite I get quite irate by that sometimes when people tell me something's a shamrock and it's got 4 leaves, because no, that's not. So each leaf, that's much tighter, whereas between the leaves, look, we've got a bit more movement, and the same there. So when I bring that round, I very carefully bring it round, you can see the 3 individual leaves. So 1, 2 and 3. So that's what we're after. I haven't opened it too much because I don't want to move on to the next bit. So that's started to glue down. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue, and I'm only going to do a little bit at the top. So this is the top, this is the bit that's going to join into our leaves. I'm putting a little bit either side. I'm only coming down about, oh, not even half an inch, more than 1/4 of an inch, but not half an inch. I'm going to put a little bit at the top there as well. And then I'm going to push it right into the leaves there like that. Okay, because I want that to glue all the way in. And then I'm going to bring my leaves round like that. In fact, I'm going to bring a chunk of them round so that it's easier to hold. And then I'm just going to get my peg again. I'm just going to peg that like that. And that just helps to hold it for me for a few minutes. It's not going to glue because I've only put the glue at the very top of the shamrock stalk, or yeah, stalk. While that's drying, I'm just going to grab my scissors, and what I want to do is decide how long I want the stalk on my shamrock. I could leave it that length if I want to, or in this case I'm going to open it up and cut a little bit to about there, I think, on this one. And I'm going to cut it in a sort of a, not a semicircle, but a sort of a curve. So what I'm going to do is start here, curve round and start on this side, about the same level as that one. Just go round. Oh, no, that's not worked out very well. Hold on. Let's undo that. It might work a little bit easier if it's got a bit more room. So let's do that again. There we go. Fold that back up and then open it out. And there we have our shamrock. So you can see that this is one leaf, that's one leaf, and this is our other leaf. So we've got the classic shamrock shape, which looks a little bit like a crucifix. So you've got the long stem, top leaf, and the 2 leaves either side. And just to finish it off, I've got my hole punch, and I'm just going to go into the middle of, so this is the middle leaf, and I'm just going to go into the middle leaf and punch a hole. And I'm going to grab, so I've got some green baker's twine, so I'm going to pinch a bit of that and loop it through like that. And I can now use this to decorate. I might make a garland with a few of these on and tie them to one long piece of in fact, do you know what, I'm going to cut that a little bit shorter actually, looking at it now. Right, let's open that out again. Get me big scissors. put that round. There we go. That's a bit better, I think. That looks a bit better. So there's one. And in true Blue Peter style, there's one I did earlier. So I really like them. Let me show you what happens if you're not as careful when you glue the glue. When you put the glue a bit further up, you end up with a shape that looks like that, which isn't very shamrock shape at all, really, is it? Because you can't distinguish. So this is one leaf, but you can't distinguish them. So you have to remember, when you're doing the one leaf, come up a little bit further with your glue. When you're gluing two leaves together, stay quite low. And then you end up with something that's much more of a shamrock shape. These will go in the porch, I think, in the window on one long garland. Anyway, I'm going to go now and lie down in a dark room before coming and doing a few more of these to go in the porch. And yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, and I hope to see you in the next video. I hope not to be sniffing and spluttering in the next video. So take care. Bye for now.